As you know, this show is about educating you to make the best decisions for your business. And that education includes giving you the necessary tools to be informed on the farm, in the community, and about those who are making a difference. That leads us to this story about Soulfire Farm. At its core, farming is about diversity, diverse crops, diverse landscapes, and diverse people. In this Market Journal web exclusive, I spoke with one woman who is an author, an activist, and a farmer using her platform to grow food and make farming accessible to everyone. Being a person of color and a woman, Leah Penniman isn't your typical farmer. But from a very early age, she found a natural connection to the world of agriculture.
Being a brown-skinned kiddo in a rural white town, I didn't have a lot of friends and experienced a lot of just difficulty in my social relationships because of racism, and so the earth was my solace.
That oneness with nature and a desire to engage with her community led her to a career in farming that has spanned 20 years. In 2006, she and her husband purchased the land that would become their livelihood. Today, Soulfire Farm is 72 acres of forest and farmland. The farm uses community-supported agriculture, or a CSA, to help provide fresh food for neighbors, refugees, and immigrants.
So people would sign up and become members of the farm, and in exchange for a sliding scale fee, which means they paid what they could afford, we would box up all the veggies, the eggs, the chicken meat, herbs, fruits, and bring them to people's doorsteps, doorstep delivery. This has grown. We now have about 100 families, 350 individuals in the program.
Leah also strives to honor her ancestors and her African American roots through the farm. The food that's grown at Soulfire uses African indigenous growing and management practices.
We didn't get here by ourselves, and we need to understand where we came from to understand where we're going. And so things like raised beds and terraces, cover cropping, rotational grazing, these came from somewhere, and many of the technologies came from indigenous people in Africa as well as indigenous people of Turtle Island.
Leah says part of understanding the history of being an African American farmer means confronting traumatic periods. And slavery, sharecropping, and stealing land through intimidation can't be ignored. In the early 1900s, black farmers in the United States owned 16 million acres. Today, that number is less than 1%.
As my friend, fellow black farmer Chris Bolden Newsom would say, the land was the scene of the crime. But I would add the land was not the criminal. And so, it is really the job of the black community and black indigenous community to work within ourselves to heal that trauma and to reclaim our noble legacy as agrarian people.
That led Leah to write Farming While Black, a book that shares tips for successful sustainable farming and examines African contributions to agriculture.
And while we were able to offer those through our training programs here at Soulfire Farm, it was necessary to get that to a broader audience. And so I finally took some time last winter and took all of our curriculum and turned it into a 350-page book that is Farming While Black.
And as Soulfire Farm continues to teach longtime farmers and those new to the field, Leah doesn't plan on stopping anytime soon.
I will say that this year I've been really loving horseradish. I kind of think of myself as tenacious like horseradish. Like you can try to chop me up and I'll just keep going.
If you'd like to learn more, we've posted our full interview with Leah on the Market Journal Facebook page.